Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. I just got an update for you guys on this major nor'easter that's going to be coming through the coastline probably Tuesday night into Wednesday and some parts of Monday night as well. But I think that like I said, Tuesday night to Wednesday, I think that's where you're going to have the worst impacts from this system. So we've been dealing with many changes with the system throughout today. We've had like three major changes today. But the 12Z, the latest 12Z GFS, is actually showing a lot more snow for these areas of New York City, Long Island, New Jersey, and southern New England. So, if we continue seeing this trend here of models agreeing for more snow, in southern Long Island, I think this could be a way more, bigger deal of an event because you're also gonna have these gusty winds coming up from the southeast. So you know there's gonna be two way directions that the wind is gonna be blowing. It's mainly gonna be from this source here, but man, is it gonna be whipping out there. So believe it or not, this is actually the beginning stages of your nor'easter. I know that usually when you're thinking about a nor'easter, you're thinking that they start here around Florida and then they just come shooting up the coast. That is usually what happens, but this one, it's going to weaken and kind of take a very weird path, kind of bounce around. And don't forget, this is the path of the eye of the low pressure. So that doesn't mean that you're not going to have any precipitation in these areas because your low pressure can still be way down here and you'll have, maybe even precipitation all the way north. So, you're going to have a lot of snow, and we're going to be talking about the snow for both the north central and the northeast. So, this is basically the north central part of the nor'easter, but it's a nor'easter only if it gets into the northeast. And then maybe tonight I'll give a little lesson on what a nor'easter is for those of you that don't know exactly yet. But that's pretty much all that's been happening in the last few hours. So we're gonna move on now to the alerts, and you can see that it's pretty strong already. It's gonna kind of stay like this for the rest of today, but then tomorrow it's gonna have some pretty dark times. It's gonna move south and it's going to really weaken very fast. So, you really need to make sure that, you're paying attention to these impacts here in the southeast because I don't want anyone freaking out over if this storm is going to be able to produce a severe weather outbreak. It's possible. It's not, I wouldn't say it's possible actually. I would say it's very unlikely, but, who knows? But there is a slight risk out there for a for severe thunderstorms. But I really think that it's just going to be some scattered thunderstorms and rain showers out here for the southeast, and all eyes are on the northeast, which is the big pinpointed area for the system. But I mean, you got blizzard warnings out here for all of North Dakota. I mean, this is a blizzard warning that goes out for all of North Dakota. That is a big state, and all of it is under a blizzard warning. So that's pretty crazy. You don't really see a entire state under a warning such as a blizzard warning. But if we were to split the state of Minnesota in half, the northern state would pretty much be kind of identical to this because the portion of the northern half of Minnesota that isn't included in this blizzard warning, you guys are still under a winter storm warning. So, many alerts out here, and then obviously you have those winter weather advisories just for those people who are experiencing this winter weather. So that's pretty much it for your alerts, and we're gonna now go to the latest GFS, or sorry, no, the latest HRRR for the North Central. So we got this one is the 18Z. So we got looks like 48 hours out of this one, because sometimes the the HRRR doesn't go out 48 hours, and I think it just goes out until like 18 hours. So we got lucky that the latest HRRR goes out 48. But you're getting a good band of snowfall that's starting to move out of North Dakota. It's actually this right now. It's 2:54 Eastern time, and if this I think this time for the North Central, this would be I think 3 o'clock today. So you're having snow starting to move out. It should be clearing in around the areas of North Dakota, mainly northeastern Dakota. But that snow will definitely stay for the next few hours and probably into tonight. Then you'll finally have that snow move through. I think all of Minnesota will get at least one band of heavy snow. But it's going to be moderate to heavy snow for pretty much all of this area, even maybe southern Iowa. I know you guys aren't getting necessarily all snow, but I think you guys will definitely get the most heavy snow, even though there is a little band of rain that could move through. But this is at most going to be just rain showers and then some wet, heavy snow that could possibly accumulate. I think it's uncertain, but you'll definitely have some heavy snow that could drop there. But then we'll skip ahead to tomorrow morning. So right now it's the 11th. So this is the middle of the night tonight. You're done with the snow basically for all of Iowa. Most of Michigan hasn't been experiencing snow as of 3 a.m. tonight. But we should start seeing that snowfall start to move through probably by the morning hours of tomorrow. So you should be waking up to some snowfall, but a lot less heavier than what it used to be and what it is now. So it's looking like Chicago. You guys could get an inch or two, maybe even 3 inches from the system. As it seems that you will have one band of rain move through on the front side of this, and then on the backside and through the middle of the system, you'll have all snow. So something to watch there. Indiana, I think you guys will have all snow. Same thing for you guys in Ohio. So, something to watch. But this low pressure has a mind of its own. Like what I said about dropping south, having that weird path where it sticks around here and around the Dakotas, but then drops south into like Florida. Well, that's where this is going. It's this exact low pressure system that's going to be the nor'easter. This has a mind of its own, and I wouldn't be surprised if this actually formed its own low pressure system, but it may not. But I mean, it's just a secondary round of snow for Wisconsin, some of eastern Minnesota, and some of western Michigan as well. Excuse me, but that will actually be rotating. So I'm surprised the HRRR is actually not showing a new low pressure system to form with this, but then it will diminish most likely in the overnight hours of tomorrow night, so like Sunday night. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So that's it for the North Central for today, and we're just gonna quickly look at the snowfall totals for today. So that went out 48 hours. We're just gonna push this to the 51-hour mark because a little bit more snow could accumulate in that time. But for the area that we're looking at here, this would be for like the Central Plains to the southern half of the Northern Plains. It looks like northern Minnesota is going to take this one. I know some of it is cut off of the screen here, but if we were to put the estimate on most snowfall totals based on what we're seeing right now, it would mainly be northern, north central Minnesota and central Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is definitely going to get at least 9 inches of snow, maybe 10 inches. But you could definitely see in some areas of central Wisconsin up to a foot of snow. I wouldn't be surprised. So pretty much all the Great Lakes regions are definitely going to get a few inches from the system. But we're not going to go any farther out because there's not really any storm that's going to be impacting that we have to talk about. So um, for Iowa, you guys, it would be mainly southern Iowa, so that same area that we saw with that heavy snow, that heavy wet snow. I mean, the GFS wants it to accumulate, so that would give you guys probably 6, 7, maybe even 8 inches of snow, but mainly for this one tiny area. Like this would count for like 2 or 3 counties of south central Iowa. And then here you go for this would be Western Illinois. I think Western Illinois is going to get the most for that state. It would be probably 4 to 5 inches of snow, maybe one tiny area of like whatever county this is. You guys could get maybe 6 inches. I think this is definitely going to be plowable snow for the whole region, but not including, central or southern Missouri, a lot of Indiana, and Ohio. So, I think for a big chunk of this area, you'll definitely have plowable snow. We're just not exactly sure on which area is going to get the most, but if I had to guess, I would definitely say it's going to be north central Minnesota. So we're now going to be moving on to the latest GFS. I'm breezing through this update, just gonna try and get to what's most important here, which is definitely, the nor'easter. So you can see that we're going to start this off pretty much. This is, I mean, for the GFS, this would be now because the GFS goes every like 7 hours for each time frame. So this was 1 p.m. today. You've been having extremely heavy snow just off the coast of Massachusetts, dealing with some leftover snow showers on the backside of this, maybe some rain showers. So it's been kind of sunny and cloudy around here. I live on Long Island, and I mean that's pretty much the view from my house. But if you didn't catch that, that was just showing you guys that it's been kind of cloudy and sunny, so like some bright clouds if you want to put it that way. But you know, it's 2 p.m., so this is like the middle of the day tomorrow, afternoon tomorrow. You're not getting any action, but then by like the middle of the night tomorrow night is when you start seeing that rain and snow start settling in. Believe it or not, you have the low pressures begin to creep up through the Carolinas. But if this stays as it is and heads just start shooting up north, man, you're gonna have crazy changes. I think that you're gonna have a ton less snow in these areas here, and then you're gonna have like insane amounts of snow for the Ohio Valley. It's gonna be like a blockbuster Ohio Valley storm. But I think we're past that. I think we can all understand that this is definitely going to just scrape through North Carolina and maybe Southern Virginia, but then it's gonna kind of head out to sea, and then that's where you're gonna have all these major impacts for all these two areas are circled. Maybe Ohio's gonna get a little bit from this, but again, it's a nor'easter. Nor'easters give impacts to the Northeast, so just something to consider because if this eventually actually does move north, we won't be completely caught off guard for the people who are seeing this video. But just something to consider. So yeah, I mean, we go to 8 a.m. This would be, I think this would be Monday. So you're getting into Monday morning, and you're starting to see that snow spread. It quickly does, and it's scattered snow from West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York State, Maine, even up to Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, but not quite Long Island, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. You guys are going to start out as all rain. But I think Massachusetts, you guys could get a little bit of a head start with this. But I mean, you're pretty much halfway through the system because this is 8 p. You're already at 8 p.m. Monday night, and you're still not seeing any of that snow for New York City and Long Island. But I mean, man, are you gonna get hammered with this rain? I mean, you're gonna have flash floods all like out here. It's gonna be like widespread flash floods for the coastal areas. I think the north and south shore of Long Island, you guys are gonna have rough seas, and it's gonna be, it's gonna be very windy, and it's going to be also there's gonna be a ton of rain. There's gonna be like 2 or 3 inches of rain that's gonna fall with this system. But the latest GFS is really showing an all-out, I guess you could say, winter storm for New York City. I'm not, when you hear all out winter storm, that doesn't mean all snow. It could be a lot of rain and wind. I mean, that would still, I guess you could say, that is a winter storm. As long as you have some form of frozen precipitation in there, I think that would be considered a winter storm. But this is like the middle of the night, Monday night. It is going to be, the winds are going to be whipping out there, and it is going to be extremely strong. I mean, this band of rain could get so strong that it could just turn into thunderstorms, and you might have some lightning, maybe some thunder out there. But I mean, it's going to be crazy, mainly for northern New Jersey, because some of the northern New Jersey is also going to be dealing with some extreme snowfall. So, nor'easters just bring a mix of everything at its worst. That is basically the definition of a nor'easter. But nor'easters do spin because you have your low pressure here, and if you look, if I were to play this, you would see rotation in this whole direction. I think this would move clockwise. I might be wrong, but I think nor'easters spin clockwise. But anyways, I mean, this is Tuesday morning. You're getting a crazy band of extremely heavy snow moving through New York City and mainly western Long Island. Eastern Long Island, not yet. But then this snow quickly spreads by 2 p.m. An all-out blizzard for Boston. I think the Boston area could definitely get a blizzard out of this. You're getting extremely heavy snow for like, all of Massachusetts, all of Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York City and Long Island. So, believe it or not, the latest GFS wants to show a very good winter storm for all of the Northeast. Even the coastal areas could see some extremely heavy snow, maybe some accumulating snow. We're going to look at the snowfall totals, and they have risen in the last few hours when it comes to changes. But it is still going to be snowing by like this is 8 p.m. Wednesday, I think. Um, yeah, this would be 8 p.m. Tuesday. So you're getting into the overnight hours of Tuesday. I mean, let's put this back to 8 p.m. I mean, the evening hours and very early morning hours of Tuesday, this low pressure is still not going to be out of Cape Cod. This is going to be sticking around for a little bit. If it were to be a kind of brief system and just comes scraping across the eastern edge of the U.S., yeah, you're still gonna get those snowfall totals, but it's not gonna be as bad as if it were to be bouncing around out here, because if it were to be bouncing around, you'd get a mix of both extremely heavy snow and extremely heavy rain. You're not getting any sleet or ice from this system. It's like hit or miss with the snowfall. If this system were to, kind of bounce around and stick around out here, you'd get back and forth of very heavy rain and very heavy snow. That would be the scenario for like the New York City area. But it's been a pretty back and forth day when it comes to changes with this forecast. But this is the middle of the night. You're getting into like the extreme early morning hours of Wednesday, and it's just making off. It's just off the coast of Cape Cod, and you're finally starting to see some clearing, but it's still snowing barely along the eastern coast of Massachusetts. But man, is this going to be impactful. And then you get another band of snowfall. It's going to move on the backside of this. And then everyone is all of a sudden back in this band of snow showers. So, it's just going to be a very long system, and we're really going to be seeing these major impacts mainly for today. I think if you were to bet on which day we would see the most changes in the forecast for the system, I think it's going to be today. Tomorrow's going to be pretty similar to today, but I think you're going to get a lot of, a much better understanding on the, precise impacts of the system. So that was the GFS. Now we're going to go to the latest Euro. So we're going to check out what the latest European model is showing for this nor'easter. So let me get this ad off of here for you guys. And let me move myself up just a little bit. All right, so we're going to start it off here. We're going to start with the beginning of this system. And you can see that when it comes to the path of this thing, I think that we can agree that the European and GFS model are pretty much agreeing on the path for this. So I think the Euro wants to show the system drop a little bit farther south than the GFS does. But I don't think that's going to affect in any way of the outcomes of this system. But it's going to start out as all rain. The European wants to show all rain for Massachusetts, Long Island, and pretty much all of the Northeast. Maybe some snow and sleet showers mixing in with that for northern PA and central New York state. But I think it's mainly going to be rain and maybe some snow showers. But that would be for like late Monday. You get into Tuesday and you're finally seeing that very heavy rain we just talked about for New York City, that thumping of snow for southern Vermont and New Hampshire and southern New York State. But then look at this. I mean, you're getting like so much snow that even red is showing up here. And red doesn't even indicate snow. So a ton of snow is going to fall. As this is a 989 millibar low pressure system, I mean, you're going to get tons of snowfall with this system. And I think that is definitely going to be the European, but if the GFS were to talk about this system, I think the GFS would definitely say the Euro is exaggerating on this system. But either way, it's going to be an all-out winter storm and nor'easter. But this is the backside of this. So this is like uh, late afternoon into the overnight hours of Tuesday, and you're getting very heavy snow, still snowing for southern New England and pretty much all the Northeast. And then it wants this low pressure system to move out pretty much the same, timing. So the path and timing of this system, the GFS and the Euro are agreeing on that, I think, for the timing and the path. But for the impacts, it's a bit different. But then they're both showing that, it should be completely clear by late Wednesday, and it is going to be very cold. Look at this jet stream here. You don't see any ridge here, although for the central US, those temperatures are going to really be above average. But a major dip in the jet stream. It is going to be extremely cold in the Northeast, and it's going to be very warm, I guess you could say, for the North Central, because, you almost never see these warm temperatures and this far north that this warm front is going to go. But man, is it going to get, I guess you could say warm, but above average for the temperatures. So we're going to discuss the wind gusts. This is the second part of or I guess this is the third part of your nor'easter breakdown. But we're going to go, I don't think we're going to go hour by hour, but we're going to start off when everything gets, pretty intense. So this is like, you know, um, this is out 60 hours. So I think this would be for, um, One second, I think I need to get the timing right here. So this would be 12 a.m. I think for this would be tomorrow. So this would be the middle of the night tomorrow is when you're going to start seeing those gusts reaching 40 to 45 miles an hour, mainly off of Cape Cod. I think for everyone um, more a little bit farther inland, it's all going to be 30s. I think it's going to be starting out in the 30s for a few hours, but then by the morning hours of Tuesday into the afternoon hours, that's when you start seeing these crazy wind speeds. You have 50 miles an hour. I don't know what island this is. I'd have to look at the map again, but you got 40 miles an hour off the east coast of Long Island. Uh, you know, this is the Massachusetts coastline, pretty much reaching up to 50 miles an hour. But then, really, once we hit Tuesday midday to late afternoon, that's when you see boom. You get a thrust of like 60, 50, 70 mile an hour wind gusts. I mean, it is going to be crazy. And this is in knots. So knots, converting knots into miles per hour is like 5 to 10 miles an hour more than knots. So maybe this will be up to 80 miles an hour. I think that this could, right here, off the coast of off the coast of east central Massachusetts is where you're going to have the most gusty winds. But you're easily going to get over 60 miles an hour. And I think Long Island, mainly for the eastern half, could see a little bit less than Massachusetts, but you're going to have overall similar wind speeds. But man, is it going to be whipping, and this is going to continue for hours until these winds finally die down. But I mean, man, is it going to be gusty. And, I think this is lagging out, but, I think your winds should start calming down probably by Wednesday afternoon. I know it's saying by next Saturday, it's still going to be gusting to 70 miles an hour, but that is just a lag. It's obviously not going to be that windy. But there's no doubt that you're going to have very gusty winds, potentially even damaging well inland. You're still having like 50 miles an hour around the Poughkeepsie area. So, you really want to make sure you're paying attention to those wind speeds as power outages seem to be likely for a large area. Snowfall totals, this is the latest GFS, and we're going to put this out for the duration of the system. And yeah, so this is pretty much it. I mean, you could see that this goes out like 100 hours. But like I said earlier, that the snowfall totals from the latest GFS have really risen. I mean, here you have it. I mean, we're gonna start off here in uh, Massachusetts, and it's showing Boston at 15 inches. This is almost a foot and a half of snow, even more than that for central Massachusetts. Western Massachusetts, the GFS is showing 9 inches. But we're gonna start snaking our way down south. So this whitish pink here, this is all like 2 feet of snow for mainly the Poughkeepsie area and central to south central New York State. Northern New Jersey, expect up to a foot. New York City, 5 to maybe, I don't know, I may be exaggerating a little bit, but this purple and pink that you see here, this is at least 5 inches of snow. I think you could get at least 5 inches, maybe up to 7, 8, maybe even 9 or 10 inches of snow for New York City. I'm kind of exaggerating, but the GFS is saying as of now that northern Long Island's going to get more than the southern half of the state, or sorry, the southern half of the island. So, something that you really want to make sure you're watching. So, Maine, mainly for the coast of Maine, it's going to be 7 or 8 inches for you guys. And then southern Vermont and New Hampshire, uh, it's a little uncertain, but it's probably going to be up to, 11 inches. So that's going to wrap the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, share, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. Catch you guys in the next update. So we'll see you guys.